Happy new month, oh, happy new month. Welcome to the second month of the year 2023, February. It is a very beautiful month. It's the month of the lovers. It's the month of the elections. It's the month of many, multiple deadlines that we have here in Nigeria. My name is Emmanuel Ojadikele. Thank you so much for joining us on Spring Trends this morning, where we bring you who is trending, what is trending, what people are saying about the who, the what, and the why. And this morning we start on the political note. If you've been following the crisis rocking the People's Democratic Party in the aftermath of the presidential primary election last year, Governor Nyesom Wike of Rivers State constituted a group known as the Integrity Governors, the G5, Okezie Ikpeazu of Abia State, Ifeanyi Ugwuanyi of Enugu State, Samuel Ortom of Benue, and Seyi Makinde of Oyo are all in that group of governors known as the G5. And they've been threatening the party that they will not support the party's presidential candidate in the coming presidential election. As we recall it, Wike and his goons went to the UK last, city rhymes, Wike and his goons went to the UK. You know what I'm talking about? They went to the UK last year, December, and then told us that come January 2023, they will tell us who they will be supporting. And as it is with us Nigerians, many of us kept vigil last night. We waited till 12 a.m. trying to see who Wike will announce as his preferred candidate. But as we speak, Governor Nyesom Wike and his brothers have not announced their preferred presidential candidate. So the question is, Governor Wike, where is thy sting? Such a failure in announcing preferred candidate. Now we'll go straight to how people have perceived Wike's inability to announce his candidate. Michael C. Bernard says, the G5 is fighting for themselves and not the people. Wike is playing smart, getting presidential aspirants to throw their local government candidates, governorship candidates, on their local governorship candidate under the bus in return for his endorsement. In the end, he won't endorse anybody. It's a gimmick. Our Senator Shehu Sani says the G5 have been playing hard to get. The clock is ticking. When the masses they control have made up their mind, endorsement will be irrelevant. Edun Adewale says Nigerians are now wiser. No irresponsible governor will ask them to cast their vote for presidential candidate of not. I've always said it on the show. If you want to comment on Twitter, make sure your English is impeccable for presidential candidate of not, which is not their choice, and they will do exactly what the governor say. Nobody can foist any weak candidate on anybody again here in Nigeria. Emeka Kalu says, God bless you richly, talking to Senator Shehu Sani now. We have made our minds concerning whom to vote come February. Come to the streets of Port Harcourt to interview us and hear directly from the masses. Rivers State is completely obedient. Ogao. Well, Obedient in Ogun State says they have lost the battle a long time ago. Obi actually made them irrelevant for PDP by getting a momentum crowd in the south to reduce Tinubu chances, which gave boldness to Atiku's camp not to reconcile with G5. They see Obi winning the battle for them. Abu says they overplayed their importance, talking about the G5 governors now. Whoever they go for now means nothing because people already decided where they belong. And Davidson says, we, the Obedient, already have a resolve. We will vote for Labour Party in the presidential election. If they endorse Tinubu, we will vote for PDP governorship candidate in Rivers. Let the game begin. Ahmed Babatunde Chukwuma, this is a true Nigerian, bearing 3 names from different regions, says we've since made up our mind. Their endorsement will only serve them better if they do it wisely. The only endorsement that will give them relevance is Peter Obi. Jerome Agi says we are still waiting for Wike, or is he confused? If he says Peter Obi, he has misfired. If Tinubu, it is catastrophic. And if Atiku, it is too late. So we are waiting for his presidential candidate. Maybe Wike will form his own party and contest, Sultan Abaka Ahmed says Governor Wike agreement is agreement. We agree that you mention your preferred candidate today. That's yesterday, January 31st. Keep to your agreement. Don't fall our hands, Biko. Unfortunately, Governor Wike has fallen our hands. Now, away from Governor Wike, we'll move to my favorite person in the world at the moment, Murphy Baby of the Central Bank of Nigeria. Finally, Godwin Emefiele appeared before the House of Reps after eluding them for many months. Remember that it began in December too. December was a month of many firsts for Nigeria. It was in December that we had the DSS looking for our central bank governor who went outside the country to take care of his health and then said he was on vacation. But Murphy appeared before the House of Reps yesterday, and then he told them that The deadline has been extended. Obviously, everybody knows that. But he made a striking statement that even after that deadline, the CBN will still be taking the old notes from the banks. Now, that does not mean that the old note will still be legal tender. It means that if you take them to the bank can bring them to the CBN. You understand? But that does not mean that you should now keep your old notes in your houses and refuse to take them to the bank. Now, let's see how Nigerians have reacted to that, saying that you still collect old notes after the deadline. Joseph Anya says, so what is the essence of the reprint and mop up? Very big question for Murphy Baby, and is going to answer. MC the Lost Oracle says, the purpose of independence granted to central bank is to insulate the conduct of monetary policy from political interference, especially interference motivated by the pressure of elections to deliver short-term gains, irrespective of longer-term cost. At Godwin Emefiele. Andy Murphy says, we are going to be using 2 sets of money note for a long time. As long as banks keep accepting old note, it continues to be a legal tender and it will be circulating. Simple logic. The end point of every note is the bank. If the bank refuses a note legally, it ceases to be. Chukudi 22 says, I see no sense in this statement, talking about Murphy Baby's statement now. If banks will still be accepting the old note after deadline, it indirectly implies there is no deadline. Peeps will keep spending the money since we all know banks will accept it, but you shouldn't take that risk. But Fekori says, the problem is not whether the bank will accept the old note after the deadline or not. The problem is why the scarcity of new notes at the ATM or in the banks, even though at the new withdrawal limit, we still don't have access to the new note. These are very genuine questions that people are asking. What's happening? Why are there no new notes for ordinary people? Excess capacity says that means politicians can still use it to buy votes, since banks will still accept it. Our Statue of Liberty is our next commentator. Says this means anytime I take them to the bank, they will be accepted. So it means I can still use them for transactions. And considering the limit on ATM withdrawal, I will just keep the cash and be spending the same. What were you guys trying to achieve again? Sometimes I wish I could bring Murphy on the show to tell us his mind and speak to us. Temitayo says, what I believe they want to do is bank will keep accepting it, but won't come out again. The banks will stop giving it out on the counter and on their ATMs. CBN will continue to produce more notes till we have enough to go around. You can keep spending the old note for now. Now, this makes sense if you ask me. Alhaji Are Ogumola says all these strict policies is because of the elections. After the February 10th deadline, CBN will stop collecting old notes till after the general elections to curb voter inducement and vote buying. Collection of old notes will continue upon swearing of a new government. Now, we must also remind you not to trade votes. Do not attempt to buy. Do not attempt to sell. Now, this person has offended me so seriously by doing this to my baby, Saki Kingston. I will look for this person and we'll have 1 or 2 words together. Says, just they play, putting this ridiculous outfit on Murphy Baby. Such an insult to my dear Murphy. Now, away from the person who is trying to insult my Murphy, I will not take that. I will not accept anybody insulting my Murphy Baby. Okay, so now let's talk about a former Minister of Petroleum Resources in Nigeria, who was also the first female president of the Organization of Petroleum Exporting Companies, OPEC. Very, very lucrative and juicy position. But she messed that up by getting involved in corruption. Alison Madueke Desiani, or Desiani Alison Madueke, has written to Nigerian courts asking that all her forfeited properties be returned to her because she was not granted fair hearing in the first place before they were confiscated by the federal government. Now, if you ask me, it's the audacity for me. It's just the audacity. After you have stolen our money, use it to purchase expensive bra, use it to purchase golden bra and golden something. You are now writing back to this thing that they should give you the property that use Commonwealth of 200 million people to purchase. You have audacity. I would like to purchase audacity from where this woman is purchasing audacity, because I don't understand why, you would write to the bank, to the court and ask them to return all the property that was confiscated. Let's see how people have reacted, particularly on Facebook, to Desiani's audacity. Habib Oladokun says, come back to Nigeria, let Buhari catch you first. you will be under lockup until PDP take the presidency again, because APC government will teach you the lessons you will never forget in your entire lifetime. Just come back to Nigeria first. Just they play. Now, Olabode Adebara replies to Habib Oladokun, says, Habib, what has APC and Buhari government done to Akpabio and Orji Uzor Kalu? Let me tell you something you may not know now. Theodore Orji Uzor Kalu is accused of having stolen 551 billion naira. That's 500 billion and 51 billion naira plus. Now, this person says this woman did not steal any money, but made more money like every other Nigerians, using their political opposition to attract wealth. As minister, she does not have authority to even sign check in the Ministry of Petroleum Resources. Leave this woman alone. What had government done to mains etc? I think the person was trying to mention a name, but autocorrect changed it. Now, Olatunji Olabisi says she's waiting for Atiku to take over and get her properties back. Nigeria, a country where criminality are seen as God. I don't know. I don't like going to Facebook. The grammar is capable of giving you high blood pressure. I don't know why they want to give you high blood pressure in the Facebook. That's why I don't like. I used to avoid it like a plague. Now we'll move on to Yekini Olarinwaju Hakim says, you want fair hearing and you run away from the country. If I wait now, if you no go roti for jail. Ogundikpe Shino says, all assets are in Aso Rock waiting for you now before Bubu leaves office. Come and collect them now. After Bubu gone, it's over. Akpovona, now we're back to Twitter. I was responding to the Punch newspapers, putting up that story. It says, I will advocate the same for you. He's saying that he will advocate that they return Daisy, let me call her Daisy Baby's property to her. Because we are in a country where those who steal public funds are granted state pardon and honored with glorifying rubrics. Dariye and Jolly Nyame come to mind. Those two governors were accused of stealing so much money and they were sentenced to jail, many years in jail. And then Bubu, our fantastic president, came up last year and pardoned the two of them. And for that reason, part of that reason is why Nigeria dropped 4 places in the corruption index by Transparency, that agency that does the corruption index. Now, and it says, Akpovena now says, I do not think you should be exempted as a senior criminal. Wow. Nonetheless, you are a big disgrace, and as Akpovena. Now we go to Elon's dad. Elon's dad says the funny thing is that our property will be returned, and in the future she will run for office. Thieves are celebrated here. Adamuji says, is it for Gary or for beans? That's on that story. And SB Law says, the return of Desiani, what will make you remember your assets? The hits don't finally reach mommy. But that's that on that story. Yeah, she's probably broke at the moment and she needs money. But then nobody should advocate for all of these things to be returned. She has to go through a due process. She has to be properly prosecuted. And if she's found guilty, let her face the music. And all this property should be given to the less privileged and some other persons who need them. Or use it to instead of building new government quarters. I can't speak for the bras and the underwear. I don't know if anybody will link the thing now and then. So let's go back to the last story that we have for you. Is on the sporting scene this morning. Very beautiful news coming out from Ijebu in Ogun State. Yesterday, the official Twitter handle of Remo Stars Sports Club put up a tweet saying that one of their players, Ebenezer Akinsomiro, has joined Inter Milan. And that's a very, very, very beautiful story coming out from Nigeria there. One of our own stars in the making, joining Italian giants Inter Milan. Let's see the response to that. Isheon Ife, the first, says, this is massive, the kind of news we love to see from the MPFL. Wishing him all the best. Yes, we wish him all the best. Ifeoluwa Akin AOA says, Akinsomiro ti lọ San Siro. Very, very good news there. Of course, Sokuru Egbodo says, this is the type of signing I love, from Remo to Inter, not all this Egyptian league or Serbian league, blah, blah, blah. I love this club. Now, Chimene says, this is great. We need more moves like this in the league. If only we have a great scouting system in the country. If only. Well, that's from Chimene. Immaculate says, more of this news will motivate other players to believe in that they can also move from our league to Europe. It is a huge motivation to see this. Very huge motivation. Daddy Evra says, congratulations, bro. Your star will continue to shine more bright. Amen. Amen. Tony Rule says, at Remo Stars SC, I have extremely, wow. Really? This person says, I am extremely proud of you guys. I'm officially supporting you guys from today. Why? Because I've always believed investors will make great money from selling star players and having an attractive side for good players who dream of solid move abroad.